why don't you, because you like love Art of Seduction. I heard you like wore the book out.
Okay, it was already worn out. Yeah, I haven't read that book in a while, but I did used to like it a lot.
So
I need a
tell us
refresh.
about your experience when you came across. Your mom told you about it?
My mom gave me the book, and she said, read this book. I wish I read it when I was your age. It's the best advice. And I brought it to school, and I would read it at lunch or whatever. And I just thought it was really helpful. I don't remember exactly what I read that stuck out to me, but I think one of the things was like, it was something along the lines of removing your attention breeds attention or something like that.
The quickest way to get somebody else's attention is
to remove yours.
That's from Corey.
Is that not okay?
That's from Corey said
well,
that.
you told me that then, and I thought it was good advice.
Infected the membrane.
But this book definitely talked about something like that.
Yeah, it did, and it talks about the categories of different kinds of personalities, and you were having, issues with relationships or something at the time. It's a long time ago. It's like 5 years ago. She was just having drama, and I was like, here, read this. It'll help you maneuver all the different kinds of relationships you go through. So she found it useful because she was able to look at the personality types and figure out what category everybody was in.
Yeah.
I remember that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, but
like who's the crush star and who's the siren and who's the dandy and who's the vixen. And, it's cool once you learn all the different categories and what their needs are, what they respond to. It helps you understand people better.
Yeah.
So how did it influence you? What did it help you with?
I think it helped me understand how people think with a different perspective. Like I was so young, I was seeing through my eyes, and it kind of made me realize why people do the things they do more in relationships, I would say. I think it gave me a little bit more of insight than I had ever heard with dealing with relationships, and I don't know.
Yeah, they don't teach that. Nobody teaches that. Well, Corey does, but when you're 17, you don't have access to that information, and then you have to live and learn, like we were talking about in our last podcast, and make mistakes. But man, think about like if all the guys that were 16, 17 read your book, how different it would be.
God, I wish I had my book in high school.
Exactly. I feel like I knew nothing. I mean, I still feel like I know nothing sometimes, but back then, this was probably so interesting to me.
When people are 16, 17, 18 and dating for the first time and you don't know anything about human behavior or, it's just...
And now it makes sense because I have a psychology degree.
Well, yeah.
But so...
Is that what you majored in?
Yeah.
Psychology?
Mm-hmm.
It helps learn about attachment styles too and that sort of thing. A psychology degree is nice to have.
You majored in psychology as well.
My mother and my stepfather are both psychology professors, so kind of runs in the family.
Isn't that weird? Mm-hmm. How we got into all this, the whole chain of events over the last 30 years.
I know.
Yeah.
So what were you struggling with at the time?
I think...
It caused you to need to look into a book like The Art of Seduction.
I think a boy broke up with me for the first time, and I was upset or something like that.
Rejection breeds obsession.
Yeah, there you go.
Were you expecting to break up, or you saw it coming?
No. I definitely remember being blindsided by it, but it was because he liked my best friend better than me, and so it made me really mad. And it was a lot because I was dealing with that, and then I was also dealing with the dynamic with my friend too. And yeah, I've never experienced anything like that before, so I was really
So he went after
flustered.
Your friend then after he broke up with you?
Yeah.
And did she say yes?
Well, yeah, then they had a whole thing, and then he came back, and then he couldn't decide who he wanted. At the end of the day, haven't spoken to him in years, but we're still best friends, so
no hard feelings.
Of us have. Yeah, no hard feelings, but I think I was just really excited about it, and then really confused on how that happened and sad.
She wanted power. She wanted to wield some power in the situation, and she needed the.
She felt powerless.
Yeah, I think I felt powerless, and I think reading this book kind of made me feel powerful within myself, instead of like, it was like I had control over something. Or I learned that I could control things in my life with what I do and what I say to people and stuff, and how I act, rather than, I don't know,
confidence.
Yeah.
So what did you use the book for? What?
I don't think that I really used it. I don't remember. It was so long ago. Like, I don't know.
Did it help
need
with
to,
your mindset, or did you use what you had learned in it to
I think
kind
it
of
helped
manipulate
more
things
with,
a little bit? Or
yeah, probably a little bit, for sure. I remember
because he came back then? He was trying to balance. He was vacillating back and forth between the two of you?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, I definitely used something from that book, and it worked. And I was like, wow, I didn't know I could do that. And then it gave me some confidence, and I felt more confident to just say things and do things that I'd never done before. And I was like, wow, this actually makes him give me more attention. It's weird. Didn't expect that to happen. But I couldn't tell you exactly what it was because I don't remember.
So he went from jerking you around, do you kind of feel like you got some of your power back?
Yeah.
From being powerless to being powerful?
Yeah. It was definitely an empowering read.
I know when I first got the book, I tried a little maneuver on my husband. I was married at the time. There's a section of the book that, like I was saying, has a category for, all the different kind of personality types. And I figured out which one he was. And I was like, okay, I'm going to test this. I remember this like it was yesterday. And his little profile was the crushed star. He was real popular when he was young. He was, captain of the football team, good at sports, cute guy, always had, pretty girlfriends. And now he's a married guy. He doesn't have all the people giving him all the attention anymore. So I was like, I'm going to just hype him up. I'm just going to tell him, wow, and ask him all these questions about, you were really good at that. And I did it. And after, I'm not even kidding, after about an hour, he started just like, oh, our relationship's so great. Like, I'm just enjoying it, our time together, and think it's better than it's ever been. And I was like, oh my gosh. I called my girlfriend. I'm like, oh my gosh, this book works. You've got to try this. It was too easy. It's almost like sadistic. Like if you take the book too serious, you have to not take it too literally, because it really teaches you about the most manipulative people in history and how they got what they wanted, so, but it is kind of interesting how you can, if you really do study it and look at all the different kind of categories people fall in, it's kind of like the love languages. If you know what someone's love language is, you know how to fill that cup for them. It's the same idea.
Yeah, it was interesting to read the stories about famous seducers like Casanova and other people, and how they would be seducing, like the queen or the king's wife or mistress or whatever, and they would hide out like all day for 15 hours in a little room, and then when everybody went to sleep, they would get together, hook up, and then they would have to be out by a certain time, and it was pretty interesting.
It is interesting.
Because I never learned any of that stuff or knew any of that history. It was pretty fascinating.
I know, that's the cool history. That's the kind of history that we would have probably enjoyed if they had taught in school. Mm-hmm. Instead of about wars and battles.
More like scandalous things, for sure.
Yeah, Chunky and I were talking about the other day, one of the classes we had in high school, our favorite teachers, I remember we read the Iliad and the Odyssey, like the first semester, or actually first 2 semesters of senior year. We were studying that. It was all like Greek mythology and stuff. It was some of the best, most interesting stuff that I'd ever learned about. You had the heroes, and you learned about the sirens that, they sing the music or whatever, and they're very beautiful, and they would get people would basically wreck their ships on the rocks, and it would end badly for everybody. And then who was it? Odysseus had them because he wanted to hear their music. Mm-hmm. And so they, everybody, I think, put wax in their ears or whatever, so they couldn't hear. And so they tied him to one of the masts of the sails. so he could hear the music, and he was like, it like drove him nuts because he, obviously he was just, it like hypnotized men and drew him to.
It's so
it
metaphorical.
was all like an illusion, though.
It's a beautiful metaphor for reality, honestly.
They got hypnotized by beauty, and it destroyed them.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So what was the question again?
Well, we started out just, I wanted to get her opinion because you had mentioned how it helped her a lot.
She came to my house the other day after we shot our other podcast. She's like, "Mom, can I have that book again? Do you still have it?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I need to reread it because
we need to buy a new one. All the pages are falling out.
Remember.
Have you ever read mine?
Your book? No, I haven't.
You just got the little snippets from your mom?
Yes, definitely.